guys, welcome back to my channel and a very special welcome to all the new subscribers out there. I actually was not even planning on doing like a live intro for this plan with me, but it's been a very active month for the channel and it's been super exciting. So we had our first recreation for June. Super awesome. And it made me feel super warm and fuzzy inside to see someone recreate a spread. So that was super cool. And we also reached 100 subscribers. So thank you guys so much for subscribing and being active and engaged in the comments. Really appreciate it. And we were highlighted, so I could not do an intro without thanking Elizabeth over at Plant Based Bride and Amanda at Amanda Rach Lee for highlighting me and my channel and my work, and not only me, just other Black creators and being active in the Black Lives Matter movement. So thank you so much. So for this month's theme, I am going retro, and more specifically retro packaging. So I ended up looking at a bunch of toys and snacks and just cool packaging from the 60s and 70s. And I'm trying to evoke that vibe through colors, through fonts, through patterns in this setup. So should be fun. We'll see how it turns out. And without further ado, let's get to it, guys. Here we go, starting off with the quote and cover page. For the quote page, I'm going with "Here Comes the Sun," inspired by the Beatles song, which happened to be released in 1969. So it's a perfect match to the theme and overall vibe for this month. Here comes the sun, do-do-do. Gets stuck in my head every time. Alright, so I'm surrounding the quote with thick rays radiating out from the center, much like the sun, of course, but I also noticed that these thick, bold areas of color were a common theme in a lot of the retro packaging I looked at. Oh, before I forget, I'll be sure to link as many of these supplies and color codes down in the description as I possibly can in case you see anything that you might want to snatch up for yourself. So the main font style I'm using for the quote is a chunky, funky, but classy font. It would be considered a display font, which is perfect for a short quote like this. For this page especially, I'm trying not to color over the same spots too many times. This particular journal's pages are slightly thinner than I'm used to, so bleeding and ghosting is a concern. But when there's a challenge, I'm ready to find a solution. So with so many solid blots of color planned, I thought it would be smart to put my Cricut plotter to work. So throughout this theme, you'll see a lot of me pasting cardstock. And if you remember my stationery organization video, you'll know that I have a notebook full of scrap cardstock, so I didn't have to go or look very far for these materials. For the cover page, I'm drawing direct inspiration from the packaging of the GE movie light, which I think was used for Super 8 cameras. Not completely sure, but I thought the packaging and the colors were cool and summery and just hit the right vibe, so here we are. I noticed a lot of lettering and retro designs I saw didn't have too many harsh outlines, so as hard as it was for me, because I love a good outline and drop shadow in my journal, I didn't outline any of the lettering, and I'm pretty pleased with how it turned out. So for the mini calendar, I'm just drawing in the calendar days with yellow circles, more on that later, and numbering every 5 days. I don't usually use this cover page calendar too often, so it made sense for me to have a bit more fun with it. So back to those yellow circles. For the monthly spread, I'm taking direct inspiration from a flat box of cornflakes. Yep, you heard right, a box of cornflakes from the 70s. I tried sketching out the circles for the days by tracing a measuring spoon, but just ended up being happier cutting out these circles and pasting them as the days of the month. Luckily enough, they were the exact size, 1 inch, as the permanent craft glue stick I like to use for larger paste jobs, so it was fairly quick to paste and stick considering. Now I'm just drawing in the rest of the box and filling in the yellow areas, again being super careful not to color over the same spot too much. I was a bit weary about coloring an intense block of red and then writing on top of that with white, so I just thought it would bleed and ruin the cover page. So I used a red strip of cardstock for that section. As much as this journal has done me well, I'm ready to get back into a journal with thicker pages so I can paint and color to my heart's content. This journal does have a lot of pages though, so if you're more of a minimal with your decorating and coloring, that could be a worthwhile trade-off for you. I got a little chuckle out of the little tagline on the box for whatever reason, crisp and mildly flavored. So I decided to keep it for the spread as a little nod to the source. Because I want to unite the theme as much as possible, I'm using the remaining colors from the first spread and adding some dots in the background. Next is the mood tracker, or in this case, the mood master spread. I vaguely remember these toys, devices, whatever, in the 90s, but they've been around in one fashion or another since the 40s, I believe. Apparently there are VR versions of these today, which is wild. But if you don't know what these are, basically you would get these cardboard reels and stick them into the top, stick your face into this thing, and you could see different 3D looking photographs. So for the mood tracker, I'll be coloring the different photo slots based on my mood. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little terrified to tackle the actual Viewmaster, so I did the reels first. I'd suggest sketching this out first to make sure you have enough room for 30 or 31 days. I sketched it out beforehand and still ended up with an extra spot. So for the scary part, I colored in everything that was sort of that flat red color, nothing darker, nothing lighter. I then went in with a more burgundy marker to catch the shadows. I oddly enough didn't have a lighter red marker that wasn't like straight up pink, so after trying a couple of different markers, I just colored it in with a different red marker, hoping to be able to tell what was what. Using the white pen for the highlights really made a difference, making it sort of pop and not look like one big red blob. I've been wanting to do a playlist spread for quite some time and decided that this was the month to try it out. I axed the habits tracker and the box a day sections because I just wanted to give myself a break. I was getting a little burned out on them both. So with the playlist spread, I'm designing it like an old blank VHS cover. So I'm pasting in some black paper the same size as my journal page. I also cut out a few strips of color for the stripes you see a lot on these packages. They weren't exactly the right size, but close enough. I thought it would be a bit wasteful to recut these when they were as close as they were. So the songs aren't from the 70s or anything like that. They are just songs that have been in heavier rotation for me right now. I printed out the album artwork at 1 inch by 1 inch, and I'm just going to paste those in with the title of the songs. If you're curious, I'm going with The Panic by Strata, Break for Lovers by Men I Trust, Warm Foothills by Alt J. I'm actually in the process of choreographing a group dance to this song, so that's the main reason why this one has been in heavy rotation. Sunrise by Kevich, I think that's how you say that. Sickness by Seven Dust, and Lovely by Billie Eilish. For most of the white, I'm using the Posca paint pen, and for the song titles and artists, I'm using a Sakura Jelly Roll pen in the size 8. The last spread in this setup is a half weekly and notes spread. For the weekly side of things, I'm going back to the first spread of the month and sort of reinforcing that color story and using those bold shapes. I'm also adding in my wash day chart on this page. I've been including this chart pretty regularly now, and it's where I track the products I use in my hair, since I do like to experiment with curly hair products and I want to be able to see what gave me good or bad results. So as much as I tried not to outline, I had to outline these to give it some oomph. I intentionally skewed the outline just a bit to make it a little more quirky and fun. The notes page was super fun. I designed it based off the Oreo packaging from 1963. And I mean, who doesn't love Oreos? And I just thought this packaging and the lettering was super fun. I again used some cut cardstock, and you could probably just as easily color these areas in if you're recreating this page. So I replaced the Nabisco and the logo with the word weekly and replaced the word Oreo with the word notes. I think the key for this lettering is making the O's more like fat ovals. For the final touches, I'm doodling a little stack of Oreos in the corner and tying it all together with a dotted background. And I think that's gonna do it for this setup. Before we look at the final flip through, I want to quickly thank you for watching this month's setup and invite you to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, let me know what you think about this setup and what you'd like to see next down in the comments, because I'd love to throw more videos your way. Finally, be sure to tag me in any recreations so I can see how you take on a similar theme. This one was really fun and I'm so excited to keep working with it. I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys. And if you liked this video, here are a couple more I think you would enjoy.